13th Warrior.
The 13th Warrior was released on August 27th, 1999. It's directed by John McTiernan and is based on the novel Eaters of the Dead by Michael Criton. Set in the early 10th century, the story follows the brave Ahmad ibn Fadlan, played by Antonio Banderas. He's an Arab ambassador who's exiled to the distant north, where he joins a group of Norse warriors in a perilous mission to combat an ancient evil that threatens their land. The 13th Warrior struggled at the box office, failing to recoup its estimated $160 million in production costs. Nevertheless, the film has since garnered a devout cult following, celebrated for its immersive storytelling, captivating action sequences, and mesmerizing portrayal of a bygone era. Join us as we discover the reasons behind this initial box office disappointment and discover the hidden gems that make this forgotten epic worth revisiting.
Hey folks, man, this is Monk and we are back with another episode of Classes of Cinematic. Join as always my co-host, we got Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo.
And this is the show where we talk about the classic films, man. You know, what we like about them, what we don't, and how they influence, other films and stuff of the era, if that is the case. But today, we're going to be talking about the 13th Warrior. And this film is by John McTiernan. And if you know names, then that guy is a legend, in this type of films. It's an action film. He did Die Hard. He also directed Predator. What else he's got on his resume? He's got some stuff.
Those were the two that stood out to me. But yeah, you're definitely right. Those got a pretty extensive catalog.
Yeah, but and it's kind of interesting. He did Rollerball. He did Last Action Hero. I did like Medicine Man, man. It's a weird.
Medicine Man's good.
It's a weird career. Also, The Hunt for Red October. Like he's done iconic films, man.
Yeah.
Not everything is was a banger. Thomas Crown Affair. I think that was dope. That was Rene Russo and Pierce Brosnan. Kind of getting together and kind of also showing that older actors can still deliver fun in the film. But I think he got caught up in some crime stuff, man. That's why we haven't seen him.
It's possible.
So you can look that up. We're not going to cover that today, but we're going to talk about this film. It had like a short theatrical run. It didn't really make a lot of money, but I enjoyed it for what it is. So I got that VHS on the low and I watched it and I was like, this ain't bad, dude.
Right. And another thing that actually kind of messed up the box office for this was the film. They started production in 97. It was supposed to drop in 98 under the actual title of the novel, Eaters of the Dead. But then halfway through the film, McTiernan was having issues with Michael Criton, the actual writer of the novel, steps all the way in about halfway through the film because he was having issues with McTiernan's vision of how things were going. So he kind of, for all intents and purposes, kind of took over, started switching scenes up, switching character roles up, the dynamics of these characters. Even simple things like the witch, the one that was in the cave. Like he switched up the look of her and then it kind of kept making the film wish-wash from being a PG-13 to a rated R to a hard R. He didn't want it to be too scary and all these other things. So
it was a hard R, I think, especially when we get to the combat scenes.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely R-rated worthy, but I think because of all of these inconsistencies that were going on, it actually pushed the film back to 99 under a new name, which would be the 13th Warrior. I like the final product, but they said that when Criton stepped in, it made the budget balloon from like $67,000 to almost like $160,000.
So it says there, production and marketing costs reputedly reached $160 million, but it only made $61 million at the box office worldwide, making it one of the biggest box office bombs in history. The biggest one of 1999, with losses up to $129 million.
And I mean, you also got to think that at this point, when this film came out, almost every Michael Criton novel was being transformed into a film. You know what I'm saying? It was like the Stephen King effect. And this is shortly after Jurassic Park. So everybody's watering at the mouth for another successful Criton film.
I think even Congo, I hated that movie, did some money.
It did. It did.
But this, man, this
is really good.
I don't see $160 million on the screen.
I don't. And
it feels like, where the money at? Somebody, man.
That's true.
I don't know, dog.
And I think that has to do with Criton making all of these changes and adjustments. I mean,
but where the money go though? $160 million. Maybe that was costs inflated to holding up production to make the writing changes.
And then for it almost taking a whole nother year to complete. But I mean, ultimately, you know, I do like the final product. I don't have much negative to say about the film as we get through the show. You know what I'm saying? Y'all will hear that. I thoroughly enjoy this film. I think it has a cult following for a reason. But you know, this is also a clear-cut example of when the directors, the writers, and everybody's not on the same page, the film ends up being incohesive.
And that's the thing about it too, man. I know it sucks, but like I feel like sometimes if you make a deal for your work, you just gotta be going in with like, it's not my work no more.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not the one that's going to be around the camera. I'm not going to be acting. I'm not going to be directing.
Yeah.
So when I sign this deal, give me my bread, and whatever comes out, comes out. And that's kind of what Stephen King has done. I mean, and there's some things that come out that he dislikes and he'll say it, but then there's ones that he does like. And considering how much of his work has been adapted, I would say most of it is on the good side.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And his biggest gripe was The Shining, but that was because, you know, Kubrick was kind of changing the story. But I mean, look at how positively that film was received. You see what I'm saying? And that's the one thing about, you know, novels or writings is it's up to the reader for how they envision what they're reading. You see what I'm saying? So you can't, as the person who wrote it, you don't get to coach people as to how they should be, you know, digesting what they're reading or envisioning what's happening. You got to leave that up to another person to put their spin on it as well.
Yeah. So with that said, man, what's something that you like about this, man?
Well, I was gonna lead with the story, but I think we just.
Like I said, man, I think the story works. Just because Beowulf itself is such a classic story, and it's worldwidely embraced and loved. That thing's been translated into multiple languages.
And you know, the thing about this story is, like, you know, this for me is one of the ultimate adventure films. You know, I love adventure films, and this one would be high on my list. I don't care what the critics say. Me personally, I enjoy it, and
it has that Conan feel.
It does have the Conan
something
feel,
like that,
or like Willow, or you know what I'm saying?
Beastmaster. It feels like it would fit right into that realm. It does.
And
you know, that era.
And I love, you know, like this is, you know, a set piece for around 900 AD. So it's a more simple time. You know what I'm saying? Whereas this gives you a lot to play with when it comes to the story. I mean, and you got your, you know, your good versus evil element, but then you also, what we get from the Vikings, I thought that was just really cool, how they really just deep dive into this, like this warrior code and this lifestyle that these Northmen live in. I mean, dude,
it's like, not much different than what you would see now with that recent film that came, The Northman. These guys has the same vibe of the people and it's really cool. The energy. But to see this done so much earlier than that, is like,
and what's cool about this is, even though this film is oversaturated with death and violence, because of them taking this approach and embracing this warrior code element, it kind of removes the sensitivity from it, because it's not that we want to see anything bad happen to the warriors, but we know that due to the way that they think and how they maneuver, they embrace death in battle. There's honor, there's glory in it. So when we see one of them die, it's not like, oh man. It's more like, yo,
it's kind of
he's you know, he died a glorious death, still doing, you know, what he needed to do. And then I really also like the fish out of water element that we
about
get.
To say that, man.
We've been doing this a long time, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I was waiting to come in with that.
We get that fish out of water element with Antonio Banderas.
I would say that too, but also there's a weird undercurrent with this film, because part of it feels like it is fantasy, but part of it feels like it's pulling the wool off of that. Because the only way I would say that is because you know, even with the main situation, the people they're fighting, they think they're half men, half bears, and they're just really dudes with bear masks on. But also, or that scene where Antonio Banderas picks up on their language. I know he's a poet, and that's just kind of his thing, but it's a weird, crazy scene because he needs a translator at first, and then once he gets taken in and goes on to that mission with them, he's hanging around them, and like you said, a fish out of water. He's Arabic, they're European, Scandinavian, and then it's like that scene where they're sitting in the fire, and all of a sudden he knows their language, and they're actually fucking
They're like, yo,
talking shit about him.
Yes, exactly.
And he's like, my mother?
Yeah.
You talking about my mother?
Yeah, exactly. You don't do that in any language, man. Those are fighting words. You know what I mean?
But my mother was a pure
soul. He was like, at least I know who my dad is, you pig eater. You know what I'm saying? And that was cool too, because, you know, that is when we get that feeling like, you know, they embraced him because it's a chain of
their
events.
Society though. That's how they all talk shit and insult each other. So for him to stand up for himself and come back with it, at first he's mad, but then it's like, yeah, I fuck with you, man. You cool. You alright.
And the thing is in the chain of events that follow, just on that short little like camping trip almost before they, you know, actually go to, you know, the village, you know, he learns the language, and then, you know what I'm saying, he shows Bulvi how to write and then speak the words back, which that was really cool too. He was interested in that because you got to remember, dude, my man was only king for a day before he ended up getting called to go fight this element. So, you know, that was really cool. And then, you know, you can't make fun of his horse. So then, you know what I'm saying? He has to show. They keep calling his horse a dog and shit. And I mean, the horse was John Small, though.
He got the thoroughbred because like people don't know though. That's where the horse racing came from. Those best horses, they come from.
And that little thing was jumping. It was jumping over everything. It was jumping over fences, rocks. It jumped over another horse with a dude on it.
They were running that for a minute, dog. That era of the. You know, but yeah, I like those elements, man. It does take a little while to get going to the first, you know, real big action sequence, but then that's where the Beowulf shit comes in.
Yes.
Like, I love that scene where they're sitting in the thing waiting in the hall.
Yes.
Right out of Beowulf.
Right.
The fall comes up. And it didn't, but it's crazy to me because, like I said, man, the locals are talking like, oh, they're half beast, they're half bear, half man, but then they realize like, man, they just mans with bear,
but they don't know that yet.
Yeah, they don't know that.
They don't know that yet, and they don't really know it after the first initial battle. See, that's the other thing too. I really like is that, you know, while we're getting this character development of the Vikings and, you know, the interaction with Ahmed and the Vikings and everything, they're building the lore of the window, and they're kind of making us real curious and want to know more about them. The locals are
definitely convinced that they're like the devil and the evil.
Yes.
So, and I love, like I said, I love how they're blending. They're on the edge of fantasy, real magical kind of shit. But it's like, it pulls. This film strips all of that away, and this telling of it has those Beowulf elements, but in this one it shows that they're all humans.
They are.
Like the real thing about it is the locals have inflated the mythology of these adversaries. Except for I still don't know how he learned the language in 5 minutes. But, but I'm gonna let that cook because I don't know. Maybe that's the destiny or
I don't think it was 5 minutes. I think it was a little longer. They just you know how long they probably rode that boat, dog. He was probably on that boat for like a month and a half, 2 months.
But dang, this man was just sitting there one day and was like, oh,
yeah,
whoa, I mean, hold up.
But like, how you learn language? I listened. It's like, damn, I can't. I listen to people speak other languages all the time, and I don't know what they saying.
Yeah, that part is a little goofy, but like you said, man, like it by the time we get to the end, we know that we're dealing with a human foe, and I think that's cool because a lot of our history that we've even got up until this point is based on people who didn't have the greater knowledge interpreting it the best way that they know how. You know what I'm saying?
They interpreted what they see. I mean, and that's the thing, the way that this window, like, I mean, they had the costumes, but also they used the elements. You know what I'm saying? They would come in the dark, come in the night, so vision's blurry. They even they fought with like clubs with bear claws on them.
I saw a dude get hit in the back with like a bone. So I was like, man, that probably hurt, yo.
You hit him with a kneecap.
But also, the bad guys, they essentially, it's like every 10th dude has a fucking bear mask, and I'm just like, man, bears, there probably ain't no more bears left around this motherfucker. If you see a bear,
he's probably half human. You know what I'm saying?
They probably gone.
Yeah, they on that shit.
All rocking bear. They got bear gloves,
and they're
bear
deep,
head.
dog.
They even rocking bear boots, yo.
Yes,
they got the joints on their feet, like,
and they gotta be at least close to like 150, 200 deep. Like, when they come in on the horse, I mean, dude, the whole fireworm. My man said the fireworm's 100 sheep long. When that thing come down the mountain, dog, it's like, I mean, it's covering half the mountain. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta think that all it is one person holding a torch.
Yeah, and there's a bunch,
but it's all a bunch of them to look like something like that. But you know,
but essentially the enemy is a group of marauders, man, and they come at night and plague the area. They also might eat you.
They will eat you, and they're gonna take your head too. Yeah. They're gonna take your head, and then they're gonna eat you.
It's not a good like strategy for survival, because eventually you're gonna kill everybody around you. Then you got to go further to eat meat, get meat. Like, it's just a bad society.
They were deep enough to do that. They send them out and
but I don't think
they turns.
I mean, our characters here kind of stopped them, but I think their fate, they wouldn't have lasted long like that.
No,
they might have had a good, they might have had a good 10-year run, but.
Well, until they start eating each other, you know what I'm saying? I mean, because apparently, like they were cannibals.
Yeah,
you know,
bad strategy.
Yeah. They didn't have the wherewithal. You know, they weren't built about that. Like they weren't built for it.
This episode is brought to you by Classics of Cinematics merchandise. Now, it's well known. I love to crack open a big green can of alcohol-infused awesome. The only thing that makes this beverage taste better is when I drink it out of this Classics of Cinematics mug. Damn, that's tasty. Don't be afraid to be cool. Get yours today by clicking the link below.
Yeah. Another thing outside of the story, I know you touched on the casting. I liked it. There were
they're good.
There were gripes about, Antonio Banderas playing, the guy of Muslim descent. They could have actually got someone
real Muslim instead of a guy from Spain.
I mean, we've seen that happen time and time again. But the thing is, the reason why that happened was because a year prior to this dropping, and started filming a year before this, was the success of Antonio Banderas playing Zorro in The Mask of Zorro. Yeah. So I mean, he was a household name. People knew he was Desperado and everything. I mean,
I definitely appreciate his casting. But just for the sake of marketing and stuff like that, you kind of wish they would have added another name with the Viking crew. But even though these guys did a good job,
Banderas was the worm on the hook. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think,
but you didn't have nothing else to like.
There was no leverage.
Not even a bad guy to be like, oh, we got Anthony.
Or they could have had
Dennis Hopper playing.
They could have had like one of the local like females. Yeah. They could have gave us like an up and coming female talent to play the woman that was interested in.
She didn't have a role though, so I'm kind of cool with her. Like because she had one scene and she was like, "Oh, your head is bleeding." I was like, and what's funny with that? Like the best looking woman in the village, in order to try to make her look a little less beautiful, they put a little soot on her face, and that shit ain't work, bro.
No, she was still hot. Yeah, it's like, well, it's all right. We can wash that right off.
Why couldn't the deuce with the big chest pat him in the head, But
the chick with the bones or something. The one that threw the bones wasn't a good looker.
It's just this Hollywood shit, man. That breaks the wall for me sometimes when I'm watching it. It does. It cracks me up, man.
But the thing is like even with that to the side, I think Banderas did a great job with his role. Like he definitely he played his part the best way that he could, you know what I'm saying? And it's easy to overlook that he still has his Latin accent. It's easy to overlook, you know what I'm saying, that we know that he's not of Muslim descent. These are things that, if you want to fine tooth comb it, then go for it. But it's only going to take away from your personal enjoyment of the film. It doesn't take away from the movie for me. But the heaviest hitters were this no-name cast of Vikings, because I mean, dude, they kind of look like authentic. They have them done up in such a way, especially my man who plays Billy Whiff.
I don't know,
but this was he was actually Vladimir Kulich, and on screen, he has a very demanding presence.
Hold up, is that the guy from? Is he from Die Hard? I swear he looks like the hair guy from. Man, look, go ahead, keep talking, man.
But I mean, he has a very demanding like on-screen presence. Doesn't have a lot of dialogue with his mouth, but he speaks heavy with the body language. You know what I'm saying? You can look at him and the way he's presenting himself, and you can easily see why he is the leader of this crew, and why that they follow. When he leads, they follow because of this on-screen presence. But also, I really like the dude Herger. Herger was was pretty much the one who took Ahmed under his wing. You know what I'm saying? The other little blonde-haired dude.
Yeah.
He brings
He's the one that fought the big dude, right?
He's the one who fought the big guy, which that is my
scene.
favorite scene when he's like, "Yeah, we got to make
like
an
that
example."
scene,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? He baited the mess out of Big Red. Dog had him thinking he was just dead in the water. Hit him with that smooth turnaround boom off with his head, rope-a-dope, and then tossed the bag of gold to the king's son. I was like, "Yeah, see to your friend. He was brave." It's like, damn, dog, that's hardcore, man. Pimp walk back. I didn't even know they knew how to pimp walk in 900 AD, but they do. You know, or maybe his feet hurt because they weren't wearing comfortable shoes. You know what I'm saying? Who knows?
It's only that's about a little over 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
922 AD.
I know those cowhides didn't have no air bubble in them though, and they walking on rocks.
I mean, your feet was tougher then, man.
I guess so.
But
But also what I liked about him is like he brought a certain level of charm to this group of Vikings. Like he almost in a sense humanized them, because up until this point, when if we remove his banter and his relationship that he had with Antonio Banderas' character, then these guys, they look like just a cold cut group of killers, heartless, emotionless, and just ready for war, and that's all they want to do, but this guy,
man, that's what it said, drinking, that's fighting, and women.
Yes, but I mean, but it shows, this one guy shows that they do have personality, and they actually do care about a little bit more than themselves, but you just have to, you have to give them a reason to. You know what I'm saying? Like, they embraced Ahmed into their crew. And, I mean, they're dying trying to save this village. This ain't their village. Nah. This ain't their folks. Some little kid just showed up on their beach.
It is a thing where if they don't deal with these people, they're probably going to be next. I got a feeling like this crew, like, after they've done killed everybody, ate them, they're going to go to the next, But I do appreciate the fight scenes in this, man. I think the battles are really great. Like, it definitely has that Conan feel, man. And I think this partially is inspired by, I think Braveheart comes out a little bit before this. So it has that, but Braveheart went harder. But
hell yeah.
But it still has that vibe, man. Maybe that's something to do with the fact that they weren't fully convinced if they were going to go PG-13 or rated R yet. But the fights are really good, man. They're epic battles. Especially, I like the first fight too, man, in the dark, in the hall, the Beowulf scene, and that's pretty cool. But then after that, we get to the outside, open air, broad daylight,
when they're in the
battle
village.
fiends, and those are really good too, man.
Yes.
It's just really, maybe that's where a lot of the cost came into, like with the budget and stuff like that for those scenes, man. I could definitely see that.
Because like these scenes, they don't work without this landscape, without this setting that they provide for us. I mean, especially when we get to the outside. Like I said, that indoor one, it's great. It's a tone setter, because now it gives us as a viewer, like, okay, this is what we're dealing with, and we still really don't know what these creatures are yet. You know what I'm saying? But dude, that second time when they bring the fireworm down the mountain and it's misty, I mean, it's visually and aesthetically pleasing to watch this.
Because we don't see the first time when they come down for the hall, we don't see their approach. So
no,
I think that's a good, especially the fireworm. You're hearing it, and then you see it,
and then we find out that it's just them, and they're just so deep. But they're like, with this whole mythology of the Vikings, like being like the pillagers, and I'm not saying they weren't, you know what I'm saying? You want to go down the lore of a Viking?
No, they were. There was a little bit of both.
But it seems
that's
like
not the whole encompass of that.
But these window that they presented for us, they are 100%, you know what I'm saying? They are going to come to your land. They don't want nothing from you except to kill you and eat you. That's it. You know what I'm saying? It's simple. Like they're like zombies almost, in a sense. They attack like pack animals, and they go off this mythology that most people don't know if they're human or not. And I'm sure it seems like they speak their own language, but they know.
And the film itself kind of takes it doesn't fully commit to either way.
Yes,
because even there's that one scene in the one battle where the leader gets hit, and then there's they put like this effect on his scream. It's like some kind of demon is being released.
Yeah, it's like, that doesn't sound like a human yell,
So y'all gotta stop fucking around.
But but this landscape, it really works. And then the part I really enjoy is when they change the dynamic completely, and then have the Vikings go to their lair, and then we're inside the cave, and that was really cool, because then you're getting waterfalls waterfalls and all this. I mean, outside of the window element, I mean, it was very beautiful, like to look at. But then when you get in the cave, dog, it kind of reminded me of like the Goonies cave, because there's a lot going on. There's bridges in there. You can see that it's populated. This is where these folks live. There's one part where there's a pile of bones. There's water everywhere. They
got a stink though, man. I would leave, man. Like I be wondering, like mold and bones. It's like the people that I would leave. They probably got to fight to keep people in there.
But then again, like, I mean, not for nothing. The creatures look like they don't really. I mean, they don't really bathe too well. All that water they got around, they don't look like they washing off that war paint.
But this is a little different. But yeah, I'm talking about the bad guys. But I'd be like, I feel like they would have deserters every day. It was like, man, this don't stink. I might die every day. I really don't like hurting people like this. I'm out. Like
they wanted me to file my teeth down.
They
you know what I'm saying?
They probably got people that go out to catch the people that ran away.
Yeah, imagine being like a recluse like that. You want to live a normal life. They're like, bro, and then every time you smile, you got these fucking piranha teeth and shit. Like, we just go. Well, I used to be this, you know.
Like, y'all don't smell that. Y'all don't smell that. Like, that's what I'm just. I gotta get the fuck out of here.
But yeah, man. And then, man. You know, and then it's really cool because, you know, we see, you know, both take the initiative. He takes out
Billy Whiff.
He takes out
Balthazar.
He takes out the queen, and it was kind of cool. Like, I mean, in the book, because and also, I mean, we did reference.
Wasn't that was the main evil in Bell? That was the mom of
the mom. One, and also, you know, I did check the book out, The Eaters of the Dead. And for those that are interested, if you don't want to buy the book, they have the free audio book on YouTube. So if you're interested, you know, you can check that out. I'm not promoting it. I don't get no residuals off that. I just, you know, I listen to it. Sounds like the Vising guy's reading it though. So don't listen to it when you're tired. But, you know, but it's free. So, you know, you can't complain about nothing that's free. But then again, you know, in the book, they had the queen bee for all intents and purposes. She was like kind of like older and, you know, more withered and stuff. And Criton made the decision that you can't have these big Vikings going and killing, you know, an elderly woman. So it was his idea to make the queen this younger, for all intents and purposes, more attractive looking bear lady. So it's easier to see her get decapitated than an elderly old woman. But nevertheless, you know, once we get that, I just love how that then just leads us into the final battle scene back at the village in the rain. You know what I'm saying? When my man has to fight the main bear guy, the one with the horns and stuff. It was really cool. And also, you know, outside of not just the setting, I like the costumes. I think that the costumes really, a good job, really played well.
All of those aspects of it definitely they help you immerse it in. Like I've never mistaken watching this that I'm in a different period than what's happening. Yeah. You know, they're solid, man. Like, especially, too, I like what they did with the bad guys. And as well as, you know, even if you look at the beginning of the film where we're in... I don't know where he's at, what Arabic country he's at. Maybe they showed it.
He was supposed to be with the Turks. In the book, before he gets with the Northmen, he's hanging with the Turkish. Yeah. After he gets banned.
But even that costuming, and like even later on when he starts voyaging with the Vikings and his gear is distinctly different from you know their gear. Like they do a good job with the costuming. And
another thing that I thought was really cool, you notice how all of the Vikings, their armor looks different. They're not like cohesive. It's because they say that
some personality with them.
Well, no, they say that the Vikings they got their armor from, you know, foes that they've defeated in battle. So that's why like the one dude has like the gladiator helmet, you know, stuff like that. So I thought that was a really cool touch. But then also like I mean we've talked about the look of the window. I thought that was just really, really cool to add to the element of everything that the film brought to us. I mean, with them wearing the bear heads and taking it a step further with painting the face up and everything. Yeah. It was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, overall, like I think it's a solid film, man. You know what I'm saying? It holds up. I think it's a good watch. You know, for a Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, it'll keep you entertained. It is. There's enough in it that's different. You know, as opposed to the other films of this realm, it has a heart, it has a personality, and a beat and a flow. So you know, if I gotta, you know, put a number on it, I would probably say it's a solid 7, man, 7.5.
Yeah,
you know, for a film of this specific genre,
easy.
You know,
and also, you know, with all adventure films, you know, it has a really cool score, a score that controls the tempo of the film. You know what I'm saying? Good battle music when the battle music was supposed to, you know, be playing, and you know, when there's other more, you know, subdued things going on, we get that as well. And the score was actually done by Jerry Goldsmith, who he has a catalog. He also did Congo. He did Total Recall. You know what I'm saying? We just did that. I mean, he's done a lot of things, and I feel like, you know, that also just kind of helped take this film, you know, to the level where it needed to be, at least for me personally, to make it, you know, a more highly watchable film than what the critics are saying. Like, I'm with you 100%. Like, if it was a scale from 1 to 10, this would definitely be a 7.5, 8 to me, just off personal enjoyment. I've seen this film a lot. And every time I watch it, it still hits me like the first time I saw it. And that's, you know, one thing that I love about doing this show is talking about films that I've already seen, but the importance of rewatchability and how a film can still hold up years after it dropped. And this one does it. It's still visually appealing, and it covers all its bases. I mean, minus the fact that they didn't have some more heavy hitters in the cast, but that's like the only thing, and that doesn't take away from the film.
Nah,
either.
it doesn't. And the only way that takes away, like I said, was the marketability.
Yes,
of it, you know.
Yes,
you know, to get people in to watch it. Because when I first watched it, I was thoroughly entertained, man.
Yeah,
you know?
man.
And I think I was up. Like I said, man, it's a good watch, man. But I think we can wrap this up, folks, man. We're going to catch y'all next time on the Classic Cinematic. I don't know what we've got coming up. It's a mystery, man. We throw these names in a bag and we shake it up and we roll it out and we let a monkey pick it. It's like, no. That would be fun though. I would have to live stream the I would live stream the picks.
That would be cool. Yeah, we would have to. That would be a show in itself, man.
But y'all can catch us at Classic Cinematics on Instagram, and follow the From the Canopy Network at ftc.net on Instagram, at From Canopy on Twitter, and you can catch me at Monkey Blood on Twitter and Instagram.
And it's Bobby Blockbuster. You can catch me on the next show.
All right, folks, we out of here. Peace.